What's happening there, guys, and welcome back to our channel. The idea of invincibility is part of what keeps superheroes exceptional. They're the final line of defense when more imperfect people fail humanity, and they're armed with mythological abilities. After months of great expectations, Eternals proved to be very earthbound in its first weekend. So let's find out if the Eternals' story continues after box office flop. Number 5. The long-awaited Eternals. Eternals, the much-anticipated 26th installment in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, opened to the worst reviews in the franchise's history with a 48% Rotten Tomatoes rating and a lower-than-expected box office gross of $71 million, down about 10% from previously decreased estimates. As of right now, the film is far from a complete flop. It's already made $90 million in the increasingly important overseas market, and a late-breaking contrary word of mouth might help it gain traction. Eternals is the third film in the MCU's Phase 4, and it offers a plot that will be familiar to fans of Charlize Theron's upcoming Netflix superhero picture, The Old Guard. It was formed by supernatural creatures known as Celestials, who created two groups of immortal beings: Eternals, who were entrusted with preserving the human species, and Deviants, who were tasked with becoming essential enemies for some reason. Angelina Jolie, various Game of Thrones veterans, and Gemma Chan star in Eternals, which was directed by Chloe Zhao, who won numerous Oscars for her work on last year's Best Picture winner Nomadland. On the surface, it appears to be a blockbuster with intellect, the Marvel juggernaut's newest line driven right down the bat. Number 4. Why did Eternals flop? So where did things go wrong for the movie? The pandemic is obviously a part of the problem. Still, people have lately demonstrated their willingness to travel long distances for a blockbuster superhero film, with Venom 2, our Marvel sequel, opening to a COVID-19 era-high $90.1 million at the end of 2021. The film runs for 2 hours and 37 minutes, which is longer than the other Avengers films, yet viewers turned out in record numbers for the 3-hour conclusion Endgame in 2019. So it can't be the reason for the increased turnout this time. Marvel was due for a mess-up. It has to happen at some point now. No series gets to its 26th installment without a bit of wear and tear to it, and only a certain number of superfans will show up for every single MCU installment without exercising their critical faculties in any way. Marvel Studios accomplished something no one else had done before with its overarching, interconnecting superstructure, yet the series was ripe for a disaster, if not an outright failure on a statistical level. Number 3. Marvel lacked creativity. Fans of Marvel are never left hungry for lengthy periods. To pass the time between MCU productions, they have an endless supply of comic books, digital stuff, and podcasts. That in-between interval, however, has now decreased to almost nothing. Eternals was the third MCU film to be released in 2021, with Spider-Man No Way Home followed in around 6 weeks. Fans were also treated to the premiere of Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye, the fourth Marvel Cinematic Universe series to premiere on Disney Plus in 2021, before an all-new set of interconnected series began pouring out on a new platform. The deluge of premium Marvel products was already impossible for casual fans to keep up with. It's now wholly overpowering. Number 2. Are the Eternals even relevant? Moderate Marvel fans were left with one question after seeing the relentless, intense marketing campaign for Eternals, which made it feel like the picture was coming out tomorrow every day for the previous 6 months. Who the heck are the Eternals, and why do I even care? In the MCU, the most accurate analogy is 2014's Guardians of the Galaxy, another significant cut from the comic books with a whole new squad that has to be introduced. But the most apparent distinction between the two, unpacking the tonal changes would take much too long, is that whereas Guardians included 5 new heroes, Eternals has a whole 10 of them. That's an excessive number. Even those who have watched the film are likely to have difficulty distinguishing between Druig Barry Kogan and Gilgamesh Don Lee and their respective powers. Not to add that all of the abilities on hand are so similar to one another that they're hard to tell apart. If a superhero film needs to stop at superheroes' sameness, why not just be a new and better superhero film? Another significant distinction between Eternals and Guardians of the Galaxy is that the latter has more ties to the more substantial tale. Number 1, so will there be another film for the Eternals? Marvel strategists may opt to retool portions of their plan now that the company has suffered its first significant setback. They might stifle production development and limit the number of series and films produced each year. They may opt to stop hiring hot independent directors to add a touch of prestige to their blockbusters, but that seems unlikely considering the recent successes of Shang-Chi and Captain Marvel. If there were other Eternals movies in the works previously, they may now be relegated to Disney Plus instead of cinemas. So will there be another Eternals films? There's no clear evidence for that, except for the ending cliffhangers of the film, so that fans can expect a sequel in the upcoming years. But are you guys looking forward for an Eternals follow-up after this one? Do let us know why or why not in the comments down below, and we'll catch you guys later in another great video. Bye now.